The 28th meeting of the Mayor and City Council meeting in regular session on Monday, March 25th, 2013. Please note, if you wish to be heard at this meeting, please sign the speaker list provided on the table at the side of the council chamber. The president has the right to limit the amount of time each speaker has for each agenda item. No one person's minutes, 2 minutes rather, can be yielded to another speaker. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to speak on each agenda item. We will have the invocation led by the Reverend Warren H. Litchfield, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mayor Mo.
Would you join me in a moment of prayer? Almighty God, we gather this evening hour to conduct the business of this city. We offer our prayer for our mayor, for the president, for the members of the city council and for all in authority. Grant unto them a sense of justice, strength, and wisdom as they perform their duties on behalf of all thy people. As we commend this city, this county, and this state, and this nation to thy merciful care, that being guided by thy divine providence, we may dwell secure in thy peace. We especially commend your gracious care in keeping all the men and women of our armed forces at home and abroad, our law enforcement community, and fire and rescue. Defend them day by day with your heavenly grace, strengthen them in their trials and temptations, give them courage to face the duties which beset them, and grant to each a sense of your abiding presence wherever they may be. Remember those upon a bed of affliction, comfort those who mourn. Hear our prayer in thy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Rao, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Crary?
Here.
Mr. Ricks?
Here.
Mr. Les?
Here.
Ms. Nicholas?
Here.
President Smalls?
Here.
Mayor Mao?
Agenda item 5 is approval of the minutes of the 27th meeting of March 11th, 2013. If there are no modifications or corrections, council, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Crary.
I'll move to approve.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas? Ms. Nicholas?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
President Smalls?
I vote yes. I'm going to just jump around a little bit on our agenda for our court reporters' sake here. Is that agenda item 9, Ms. Rao? Item 8? Item 9, okay. Agenda item 9 is the second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1767, an ordinance to approve an amendment to the revitalization overlay area RO2-01 site plan and landscape plan for Park Place and providing an effective date. I read the title into the record for the second reading. We have a presentation by you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll open the public hearing at 7:05, just for the record.
Good evening. The revitalization overlay application number RO2-01 2012 was filed on December 11, 2012 by Sam Lanciotto, GFC Development, requesting approval to amend the approved revitalization overlay area site plan to construct a 19-unit, 4-story apartment building on parcel C with associated parking at the property known as Park Place, located at 601 through 605 7th Street. On January 16, 2013, a copy of the application and a letter asking for comments were sent to the City of Laurel Department of Parks and Recreation, Department of Public Works, Laurel Police Department, and City of Laurel Fire Marshal's Office, the Maryland Office of Planning, the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission, the Prince George's County Health Department, the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, the State Highway Administration, and the Prince George's County School Board. On January 17, 2013, the City of Laurel Department of Parks and Recreation submitted a response stating that the department had no comments regarding the request. Also on January 17, 2013, the City of Laurel Fire Marshal's Office provided a response stating that the handicap parking spaces needed to be striped and that the drive aisle areas needed to be at least 15 feet wide. On January 24, 2013, the City of Laurel's Police Department submitted a response stating that the department had no objection to the application. A response dated January 30th, 2013 was received from the Maryland National Capital Parks Planning Commission stating the commission had no objections to the request. On February 5th, 2013, a response was received from the Maryland State Highway Administration stating the administration had no objections to the application. On February 7, 2013, the Prince George's County Department of Public Works and Transportation provided a response that reads as follows. This is in response to the January 16, 2013 referral regarding the planned redevelopment located at the intersection of 8th Street and Talbot Avenue in the City of Laurel. The Department of Public Works and Transportation has reviewed the planned development and offered the following comments. The proposed site development plan needs to meet the required stormwater management for redevelopment as per County Code Section 32-175. All new impervious areas is to provide 100% environmental site design to the maximum extended practicability. The traffic analysis provided does not show any impact to county-maintained roadways. A response from the City of Laurel Department of Public Works was received on February 22nd, 2013 and reads as follows. The department has reviewed the revised site plan for the Park Place mixed-use development and offers the following comments at this time. Please, on-site parking. Please ensure that the total parking spaces provided will be sufficient for the existing land use and for the new residential building. The 2 handicap parking spaces south of building number 1 must have a 5-foot wide minimum access aisle adjacent to the handicap parking spaces. The reduced number of curved islands in the parking lot is considered acceptable. Some drive aisles did not measure as 22 feet wide even though they were marked as 22 feet wide. Please ensure that all drive aisles will meet the 22 feet wide minimum to accommodate 90-degree parking. ADA accessibilities. We did not see any crosswalks or designed walk path provided from the proposed residential building to the convenience store. Please address plans to accommodate the future foot traffic between these 2 buildings. The proposed bike rack is very close to the ADA ramp. Please ensure that there will be sufficient space for the handicapped residents in wheelchairs to access the sidewalk when bikes are parked at the bike rack. The sidewalk near the building entrance appeared to be narrow to meet the ADA standards. We recommend removing some landscaping area to provide sufficient sidewalk width. No other agencies' responses were received. And under date of January 18, 2013, a letter advising of public hearing dates of February 11th, February 12th, and February 25th, 2013 was sent by certified mail to the applicant, the property owner, and contiguous property owners. On February 13, 2013, a letter advising of the rescheduled hearing dates of March 11th, March 12th, and March 25th, 2013 was sent by certified mail to the applicant. The property owner and contiguous property owners, all return receipts from the initial notification were received with the exception of 601 7th Street, Laurel, Maryland, 20707, 6017 7th Street, Suite 404, Laurel, Maryland, 20707, 601 Talbot Avenue, Laurel, Maryland, 20707, 619 8th Street, Laurel, Maryland, 20707, 603 7th Street, Suite 102, Laurel, Maryland, 20707, P.O. Box 1207, Laurel, Maryland, 20725, 601 7th Street, Suite 401, Laurel, Maryland, 20707, 603 7th Street, Suite 103, Laurel, Maryland, 20707, 817 Montgomery Street, Laurel, Maryland, 20707, 603 7th Street, Suite 402, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. All return receipts from the notification advising of the revised hearing dates were received with the exception of the following addresses. 601 7th Street, Suite 402, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. 601 7th Street, Suite 401, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. 601 7th Street, Suite 404, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. 603 7th Street, Suite 103, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. 603 7th Street, Suite 403, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. 603 7th Street, Suite 402. 619 8th Street, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. 617 8th Street, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. 601 7th Street, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. 601 Talbot Avenue, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. 603 7th Street, Suite 102, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. 504 7th Street, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. 4410 Arthur Thorpe Street, Hyattsville, Maryland, 20781. 613 8th Street, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. 8909 Bovelder Place, Laurel, Maryland, 20708. The file contains a certificate of publication verifying that the initial hearing dates for this application were advertised in the January 31st and February 7th, 2013 editions of the Prince George's Centennial. Also, the file contains a certificate of publication verifying that the revised hearing dates for this application were advertised in the February 28th and the March 7th, 2013 edition of the Prince George's Centennial. A memorandum from the City of Laurel Planning Commission to the Mayor and City Council dated March 13, 2013 reads as follows. At the regular meeting of the City of Laurel Planning Commission held on March 12, 2013, the following action was taken on the subject zoning application. On motion by Mr. Wilson, seconded by Mr. Kish, and carried on a roll call vote of all members present, the Planning Commission recommended that the Mayor and City Council approve revitalization overlay application number RO2-01-2012 with the conditions as listed in the technical staff report. The file contains an affidavit signed by the applicant attesting that a zoning sign has been placed on the subject property and has remained and shall remain until a decision is reached by the Mayor and City Council. That concludes the reading of the file, Mr. President. However, I would like to state that there are two recommendations for conditions suggested by the administration, agreed to by the applicant, that one, a covenant is required and must be filed restricting 5 units of the apartments building for age 55 and older prior to the issuance of the first use and occupancy permit by the city, and 2, parcel C shall be included in the Park Place Condominium Association. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Mr. Robert DePietro signed up to speak on this agenda item. Mr. DePietro, if you'll give your name and address for the record, please.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, members of the council, Bob DePietro, 502 Gorman Avenue, Laurel, Maryland. On behalf of the applicant, Mr. Sam Lancelota, and Legend Builders on the original Park Place, which was done on February 14th of 2005. We would ask that the Resolution 1215 of the Planning Commission be placed into the record as a recommendation of the final plan for revitalization overlay on RO2-2-2012. I will say that based on the staff report that was just given and through the Planning Commission, we've accepted all recommendations of the city, corrected the problems, and as you'll recall, you received a letter from the members of the HOA, which Mr. Collins and Mr. Lancelota met with the HOA. We've worked out those differences. They testified at the Planning Commission. I was hoping somebody would be here tonight, but I think we've worked most of those out with a few exceptions. One of the residents is still concerned about the waiver of the extra parking spaces. I would again state for the record, in these mixed-use developments, it's not unusual to have this type of a situation, and if you looked or saw the package, we had a very comprehensive study done of the parking by the traffic group. Mr. Glenn Cook is here tonight should you have any specific questions. We also found out at the time that there is a business operating legally and legitimately at the condominium association, but apparently on a regular basis, a couple days a week, they have rather large training classes, and
We are requesting that the city fire marshal kind of look into the situation because there may be more people than the allowed space. But at those times, the parking lot is generally full. There are still other spaces, but it is an inconvenience, and we recognize that. We're going to work with that particular business to see if we can get a solution for them. In addition to that, the residents have asked, and we think this is a city council matter, it's not for the developers, but as it applies to the plaque for the Laurel White Sox, which is the African American baseball group that played on that field for many years. The city had requested a plaque, which has been designed, is sitting up here with a green border around it, to be located at the home plate. And you'll recall that for several years, Mr. Collins was trying to nurture the tree in that corner, and it didn't sustain a couple storms, so the plaque is going to take the place. Some of the citizens of the condominium association asked that we would move that marker to the corner of 7th and 198, which yes, I understand would be the right outfield of where the baseball team would play. However, that's not what was suggested and or emphasized to us in terms of a historic marker at the site. That issue, as far as we know, will still go into that park, but I do want to be on the record that we raised the fact that the citizens asked to move it at 7th and 198, and their request was that they would like to do or play some gardening operations in that open area, which is also has part of the stormwater management field into it. But that is a question I will leave up to you. I would note on the record that in the resolution that you have from the Planning Commission, there is a numerical listing error as you go down that list. If you have that document in front of you, it starts with site plan review as number 1, public safety as number 2, and it ends on that page number 6 as parking. And then after you have the parking studies, 2 pages of parking studies that were attached, it goes to another number 6 about signage. That 6 should actually be number 7. Number 8 should become stormwater management. Number 8 should become number 9, which is site and landscape. Number 9 should become number 10. And I just would like that noted and changed for the record as that resolution to be corrected from the Planning Commission. This will conclude the development of Park Place. As I said, it started back in 2005. The 7-Eleven has moved inside to the property. The 7-Eleven on the corner is closed. These were all issues in which the city was supportive of trying to fix up that area and clean up that area. And so we would ask for your favorable consideration for this application.
Thank you, Mr. DePietro. I have no one else signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing at 7:19. What's a pleasure to council?
Mr. President,
Councilman Les?
I'll move for the approval of ordinance number 1767, an ordinance to approve an amendment to the revitalization overlay area R02-01, site plan and landscape plan for Park Place and providing an effective date. Also note the renumbering of the transmittal from the Planning Commission, as pointed out by the applicant, and this is conditioned, the approval amendment is conditioned on a covenant is required, must be filed restricting 5 units of the apartment building to age 55 and older prior to the issuance of the first UNO permit by the city, and parcel C shall be included in the Park Place Condominium Association.
Thank you, Councilman Les. Is there a second with the added amendments?
I move for a second, and I'll do it with a friendly amendment too, and that is that the administration take a look at the placement of that plaque that we've talked about many times, and if it is appropriate and will serve what it is supposed to in honoring those people that did those magnificent things on that field, if it's appropriate that the administration will take note and will carry that out.
I accept that.
Thank you, Councilman Ritz. Councilman Les, any further discussion? Ms. Rao, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls,
I vote yes.
Mayor Mo.
Now we'll return to our agenda order with agenda item 6, report of the mayor and city council, and tonight I'll start with Councilman Ricks.
I've been very busy, and I've been working very much on some of the legislation that we're going to deal with tonight. And so I can just say that I have been busy, but I do not have a report.
Thank you, Councilman Ricks. Councilman Les.
Thank you, Mr. President. Saturday, I attended as a guest of my wife for a change. Usually she's my guest. St. Vincent Pallotti Spring Gala at the University of Maryland. Congratulations to Chris Weaver and his staff for hosting this first-class event. They raised a lot of money. I'd like to offer my condolences to the family of Mrs. Helen Goldsboro. Mrs. Goldsboro, who passed away on March 21st, lived many years in Laurel, but most recently was living in Silver Spring and attended the Methodist Church on Main Street. I'd like to offer my condolences to the Stoner family of North Laurel on the recent passing of Nettie Stoner. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Les. Councilwoman McCrary.
Thank you, Mr. President. A week ago Saturday, along with the council and the mayor, we attended the Volunteer Rescue Squad Awards ceremony. I thank them for inviting all of us, and I recognize and thank all the hours that they put into the city and volunteer, and it's amazing the number of hours and that they all have jobs on the side, if you will. I attended a lively environmental committee meeting last week with Mr. Smalls. We had several speakers and lots of wonderful plans. And a library meeting where we're wrapping up the final preparations. I also attended the Laurel Board of Trade meeting last week. It was nice to see everybody after the winter. In the spring, it seems like everybody comes out. On Saturday, I attended the extravaganza at Goody Park, where the eggs were placed for different age groups. It threatened to break out at one point, but Mr. Lotsky's staff controlled it, and Bob Mignon from the Lions Committee got his age group under control. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman McCrary. Councilwoman Nicholas.
I, too, attended the Laurel Volunteer Rescue Squad dinner, which was nice. And myself, some of the council members and the mayor, we attended the Kinder Minder Pediatric Center grand opening, which is a very nice facility located on Baltimore Avenue. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Nicholas. I'm just going to make a couple of announcements, and I'm going to put them in the order that I've been instructed to. Today is my youngest grandson's 5th birthday, so he has to be first on the list, so I want to wish Antonio a happy number 5. My other announcement is that the community garden, the Laurel Community Garden, the organization and planning of that is well underway of 44, I think it's 44 plots. Is that correct, Mr. Lotsky? 44 plots for the community garden?
There's a total of 58.
58. At last discussion, nearly 30 of those plots have already been leased. There was a workshop, I think, held over the weekend for new gardeners. So it's taking shape and it's moving forward. So I encourage anyone who may be a gardener or would like to get their hands into gardening to give our committee a call or reach them by email. And certainly there are plots of all sizes. We have plots for young people as well as community plots that the harvest will go to Lars and some of our other homeless shelters. That's all I have. Mayor Mo?
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple things. Let me give well wishes, speedy recovery to Frank Mills. Christy Mills is our city administrator's husband, as well as Ms. Rao, who's there with one wing tonight, and we appreciate her being here. Speedy recovery to her as well. Had the opportunity to attend the Laurel Rescue Squad's annual banquet. Again, I want to thank them for all that they do throughout the year, as well as all the award recipients that night. Did have the opportunity to attend the Laurel Winter Shelter seasonal yearly wrap-up at the synagogue last week, and again, that's well-attended, and they do great work for this community, the greater Laurel area, and we look forward to continuing our partnership with them as well. I did have our monthly meeting with Councilmember Mary Lehman last week, and we meet monthly, discuss different issues, city and county issues that are affecting us both, and appreciate her coming here to City Hall again and meeting with us. As you heard, Kinder Mender, who had their grand opening, we want to congratulate them, welcome them to the city. They are at Bowie Road and Route 1, and just a great place to take kids if you need to have some information on wellness or whether they're a little bit under the weather. So we wish them the very best. I want to acknowledge and thank Mr. Lotsky and his staff for the extravaganza at the Goody Park on Saturday. Well attended, and a lot of kids had a great time. And Mike, I just want to congratulate you and thank you and your staff for the hard work that you do. We, as most know, we've had some issues in several of our playgrounds and our parks. We want to again remind the public when they see something that doesn't look right, we ask that you contact our police department and let them know. If you have any information regarding the destruction of these city properties within the parks, we ask that you call our police department as well. And there's a tip line as well as an arson line, and we have flyers here. As I said, we are going to continue to investigate, and want to thank the police department as well as Prince George's County Fire Department for all their hard work, but we're not going to tolerate that. We want kids to feel safe when they go to their parks, and we're going to continue to investigate that fully and bring those people to justice, or that individual to justice. With that said, we're going to have two community fun days in both of these, one of the parks at Emancipation Park as well as Discovery Park. The first one was tomorrow night. We are going to cancel that due to our great weather we're having out there. So we figured with the snow on the ground still, we should wait for on the Tuesday. So the Community Fun Day at Emancipation Park tomorrow night is canceled. We will again have that at a later date. But on Thursday, the 28th, our Community Fun Day at Discovery Park from 5 to 7, we will have that event. We ask that families come out, kids come out, have a good time. We've got a lot of things planned. It should be a great opportunity, especially for those young people that have been there at that park for so many years. And I know that it bothered some because I've had the opportunity to talk to some of those kids. We want them to feel comfortable, and we want them to understand we will rebuild that park, and they are safe when they come to our parks as well. So on the 28th, Thursday, from 5 to 7, we encourage you to come out. On April the 8th, my time with the mayor will be held at the Robert J. DePietro Community Center over on Cypress Street from 4:30 until 6:30. That's your opportunity to stop by. No appointment needed. It's first come, first serve. And if you have issues or questions or concerns, you can stop by and see me, and we'll have some limited staff there as well. March the 31st, want to wish everyone a happy Easter on Sunday. And then we do have, Mr. President, I'm going to have to step down to the podium. Oh, one other. I just found this out last week. Former Executive Director Murray Miller. I want to acknowledge Murray. He was a former Executive Director for the Laurel Boys and Girls Club and involved in Pilates. We were told passed away, so I want to acknowledge Murray and at least put that into the record. And our prayers and thoughts are with him and with his family. I have some appointments to make, but I have a couple things that we're going to do tonight, and I'd ask maybe if you want to come down as well. I'm going to just tell you, we have a new program that we're starting here tonight. We're going to do this on the second Monday night of each council meeting. We want to acknowledge the many volunteers that help our community and support our community and make us all look good, quite frankly. Without the volunteers, we would not be able to do the things we do in this community. And as I've always said, it's volunteers that really do make the community. So I want to thank the council and as well. We are starting the Mayor's Star of Achievement Award, and we are going to recognize our CACs, our commission members as well as committees, and try to take a couple each meeting and acknowledge them. It's not a lot. It's, as I've always said, just our way to say thank you. And again, as I said, it's not a lot, but I think a thank you goes a long way in this day and age. I'm going to ask our council president if he'd read the names. I know there's about 5 of them here, and then hand them off. And we're going to do a group photo when we're done for all those that are here.
It's with a great deal of pleasure that I give this first presentation. I've had a chance to work with this gentleman on the Planning Commission for a number of years, and I've known him professionally as well. This is presented to John Kish, Board of Election Supervisors. The next one, also to the City of Laurel Board of Elections, is William Welford. The next Mayor's Star of Achievement, Mr. Welford, is to Kimberly Parker, the City of Laurel Board of Appeals. I've known Ms. Parker for I don't know how many years. I won't even count them. She and I were neighbors for a number of years. We served together on our HOA's Board of Directors, so well deserved. Mr. Dennis Whitley, City of Laurel Board of Appeals. Ms. Marlene Collins, City of Laurel Board of Appeals. I'm not sure if these people are here, but I'm going to read their names into the record anyway. Gwendolyn Boyd, City of Laurel Board of Appeals. I'm sorry, City of Laurel Board of Election Supervisors. Margaret Chenault, City of Laurel Board of Appeals. Chonya Davis Johnson, City of Laurel Board of Appeals. And John Steinecke, City of Laurel Board of Appeals. These are all the recipients of the Mayor's Star of Achievement.
We'll get faster each time we do this. Next month will be a little bit quicker. Thank you all again for coming out. And again, as I said, we appreciate all the work that you do for the City of Laurel. Mr. President, I have just a couple more names to read off. As you know, we are working, and the council approved the task force for the Laurel Boys and Girls Club. We do have all the different organization, the Boys and Girls Club, as well as a council member and my appointments. With that said, let me just say the Honorable Rick G. Wilson will be the chair of the task force. Rick qualifies as a member of the general public. He's also a former council member. The Honorable Robert J. DePietro is here with us tonight. Bob's a former banker, has a financial background, business, and as I said, a former mayor. Miss Monique Holland, who has a financial background as well as business. Mr. Lionel Francis, who is a member of the business community, and Miss Gloria Arnold is a member of the business community. That's the mayor's appointments, Mr. President. The city council appointments, Mr. Craig Frederick is a member of the business community. Mr. Marcellus Shepard, a member of the general public.
He's here.
He is? I'm sorry. You can stand to be acknowledged. Thank you. I'm sorry?
Support.
Sorry about that. All right. And Mr. Kenneth Taylor, a member of the general public. And Miss Mickey Fink, who's a member of the general public. Mickey's in the back as well. Mickey, if you want to stand. We appreciate you all coming here this evening. Thank you. We have the Laurel Boys and Girls Club appointments, Mr. President. Mr. Michael Sarich, who is the Vice President of the Laurel Boys and Girls Club, is a member of their board of directors as well. And Mr. Adrian Russo, who will fall under the general membership of the Laurel Boys and Girls Club. Those are the appointments. We had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Wilson this evening. He looked forward to having a meeting quickly. He will also, there is an appointment for a vice chair. I thought it was important that once the committee gets together to let them have some dialogue, and he's going to report back on who the vice chair should be. A lot of work. We're planning to have those meetings here. They are open to the general public. They will be on our cable as well. And we look forward to working with the club and finding some solutions with these individuals that have been appointed tonight. If you have questions, comments, you want to send something to Mr. Wilson, you can send it here to City Hall, attention the mayor's office, and we'll make sure that he gets that as well. But those are the appointments. We look forward to them starting their work, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, I'll entertain a motion to approve the mayor's appointments. Thank you, Councilman Les. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Ricks. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call for the vote.
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Agenda item 8 is a general public hearing. I'll open the,
I'm sorry.
oh, okay.
I do have two other mayoral appointments for reappointment. Mark DiLorenzo, Historical District Commission, from 3/25/13 to 3/25/16 will be the term, and Ms. Lori Blitz, the Historical District Commission, 3/25/13 to 3/25/16. And now that concludes my report.
All right, Council,
Thank you.
it's your pleasure.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman McCrary.
move to approve.
Councilman Les, was your second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Les. Any discussion? Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes. Now we'll move to agenda item 8, the general public hearing. I'll open the general public hearing at 7:40. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak during the general public hearing? Seeing no one, I'll close the general public hearing at 7:40. Agenda item 10 is a second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1768, an ordinance to enact a new Chapter 3 entitled Animal Control to the Code of the City of Laurel for the purpose of dealing with animal control throughout the city. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:41, and I have several people signed up to speak, starting with Ms. Helen Woods. Would you please give your name and address for the record?
name is Helen Woods. I live at 15033 Cortland Place, Laurel, Maryland 20707, behind the old mall. Good evening. My name is Helen Woods. I'm a Laurel City resident, a member of the Mayor's Trap, Neuter, and Return Committee, and I'm here to support the proposed change to the Animal Code. I'm also a volunteer with the Laurel City-based group Laurel TNR, a group that is dedicated to bringing together cat lovers, business owners, property managers, and other community citizens towards the common goal of reducing Laurel's feral cat population.
That mic a little bit towards you.
I'd like to start this evening by pointing out that I believe that everyone in this room is probably here with this common goal. We'd all like to see fewer feral cats in Laurel. The question is, how are we going to achieve this goal? There are two ways to try and manage feral cat populations. Trap and kill, where feral cats are trapped and taken to the shelter for euthanization, or trap, neuter, and return, a program where feral cats are trapped, sterilized, vaccinated against disease, and returned to their home territories where they prevent new cats from moving in and provide rodent control to the property. We have tried trap and kill. It did not work. Laurel has more cats now than ever. PG County, which we have emulated, has been doing trap and kill for 30 years, and according to Chief Rodney Taylor, has seen no reduction in the number of feral cats over that time. It's time to try something new, and that something new is trap, neuter, and return, or TNR. TNR has been shown to be a successful management tool in towns across this country, so much so that locally, D.C., Baltimore, Fairfax, and Greenbelt have all adopted this progressive and effective means of cat population control. It's time that we did away with failed policies of the past and moved on forward with progressive policies of the future. By embracing new policies and by working together as a community, we can reach our common goal of reducing Laurel's feral cat population. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person signed up to speak on this agenda item is Mr. Glenn Spiegel. Mr. Spiegel, again, if you'll give your name and address for the record.
Glenn Spiegel, 7 Dell Place, Laurel, Maryland. I'm a very open-minded person, so this is one thing that I've been worried about for years. We are all here today in support of taking steps in order to change the city's policy regarding stray cats. This is a step in the right direction because it enables these innocent animals to live without adding to the current stray cat population. For instance, the way of handling the stray cat population as of now is to have them trapped and turned into a shelter. These shelters only allow the animals so many days to be adopted before they are destroyed. This system has a huge flaw. The cats that are trapped do not stand a chance of living, and the helpless homeless strays that elude capture are roaming around continually breeding and increasing the stray cat population. A reasonable solution to this problem is the Trap, Neuter, Return program. This program allows the cats a fighting chance of survival and stops the increasing number of strays due to excessive breeding. The stray cats are of no harm to anyone out in the wild since cats, by nature, are skittish and avoid human contact. Without being able to reproduce, the population of these stray cats will eventually diminish, so you tell me the better solution to a stray cat population. Spend thousands of dollars running around in a circle trapping and murdering cats through euthanasia without ever truly solving the problem. Or use some diligence in the matter and grant Trap, Neuter, Return program allowing God's creatures to live while solving the stray cat population problem in the long run by the inability to reproduce. To any reasonable person, a trap and release program is far superior to a trap and kill program. We do not euthanize our innocent orphan children and so should not treat innocent, helpless orphan cats any different. And I've enjoyed the cats in my neighborhood, and I've worked with Mrs. Woods recently and capturing and getting them fixed. I think we're on the right track here, but it's going to take all of us in the city, county, state to understand that there is a problem, and we have to look at it for what it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spiegel. Nelson Bricker. Your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Nelson Bricker. I'm at 14962 Bellamy Drive in Laurel, Maryland. And I'm also a local veterinarian in Laurel, Maryland. And so I'd like to try and speak with you all a little bit on both personal and a professional level about these cats that have been both in my neighborhood and around the city of Laurel since I moved here. I'll start off with just my experience when I did come to the area. There was a large number of feral cats in the neighborhood, and I've been able to trap and spay and neuter all of those animals, which to me were previously causing a fairly large problem. And while they're still in the neighborhood with other people and myself that are providing food sources to them, they seem to be causing less issues. I've seen less fights. There's been obviously less pregnancies and kittens that have faced having to grow up in the outside world and oftentimes dying at a high rate. And so that has been a plus side personally for me. When I look at the spay-neuter program and what it has done nationally and what we found in other countries as well, is that it helps us to preserve a healthier overall population of cats that have an overall lower impact on the environment. And so we still do have some of the benefits of them more as a wildlife than we would as these pests that sort of would run more rampant when their populations grow above what the capacity of the environment is to hold them. And so the larger problems maybe I've seen them cause have more to do with people not securing their trash and trash cans, having issues with the cats just being in the area and feeling that there's some issue with them, whether there is or not. But I think that through the communication that myself and Helen Woods has been providing with the Laurel Feral group, I think that we're able to help people understand that a lot more, and I hope that when we have more support, such as through laws and ordinances that are passed through the city, that we'll be able to see the benefits of those more firsthand. And on another personal note, for the people that actually have to go through putting these animals down, I can't tell you how much it adds to the problem of compassion fatigue among shelter caretakers and veterinary personnel who have to put animals to sleep who are otherwise perfectly healthy. And so that's another added strain that somewhat goes unnoticed, I think, among a lot of professionals who did not get into this job in order to kill animals, especially the healthy ones. And so if we can find an alternative way to deal with this issue, I certainly support that. Thank you.
Carol Nelson. Ms. Nelson, again, if you'll give your name and address for the record.
Okay. My name is Carol Nelson. I live at 3334 Dominion South in Maryland City. This address is Anne Arundel County, and although I do not live in the city of Laurel, I'm here to support the proposed adoption of a TNR policy by the city of Laurel. TNR has been shown to be a proven way of controlling the cat overpopulation. It is humane for the cats and benefits the community as well as the cats. Mayor Moe has stated on several occasions that he does not want to kill an animal if he does not have to, and I thoroughly agree with the mayor and applaud his efforts in getting the TNR adopted by the city of Laurel. There are pamphlets out in the lobby encouraging pet owners to spay and neuter their pets. Why would we want to do anything any less for our community cats? TNR, it's a win-win for Laurel and our cats, and I urge the city council to change the city code so TNR can be adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcia DeBolt. Your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Marcia DeBolt. I live at 7723 Hyattsville, Maryland, 20784. I am an outsider, and I am the first African American to have an animal welfare group in the nation. So, started in Prince George's County. I am for TNR. I enjoy having cats in my neighborhood. They do a lot of things for the neighbors. In West London Hills, where I live, we had a big problem with cats. People were trapping cats, taking them to the shelter. They were also taking them to other people's neighborhoods. A few of them were taking them to their farms where they shot and killed them. It's a lot of things that were going on in my neighborhood that just wasn't right. I asked the citizens to help me out. They gave me money. They supported me, and we started to get this problem under control. We had about 200 cats. Right now, we had spaded to date 120 cats. People are starting to say, I don't see many kittens anymore. I don't see the cats anymore, because cats by nature do hide. They call me now if there's a cat emergency or if their pet is sick. So I'm kind of like the person they go to in my neighborhood. We also have block captains that call me and let me know what's going on in their blocks, if the cats need help. Or we also do dogs. So our community now, instead of killing them, taking them to the shelter, what they're doing now is working together to try to do what's right by keeping these animals alive. Because I feel in this country, we have to calm down on the killing now. It's just way too much of humans and animals. It's just time to stop and go for something new. So, thank you.
Thank you. Ronald Myers.
Hi, my name is Ronald Myers. I live at 8130 Fenwick Court here in Laurel. I lived in Laurel approximately 20 years. Out of 15 of those years, I owned 4 properties, and when I first moved here, there really wasn't much cats in Laurel. But then population of cats started to grow, and having to go to all those different properties constantly, I noticed that it's just gotten worse. But that when I got involved, I fixed approximately 30 cats myself, and TNR does work, and the reason why it works, if you take a cat out of a population, you basically are just creating a vacuum. This has been proven through Alley Cat Allies. They have done plenty of research on this. Again, I've been here for 20 years, and the cats are just going to continually grow, and you can kill as many as you want. They're just going to come back in force. So I really think the humane thing is just to do TNR, which I have done personally myself, at least 30 cats, and it works. So. And because you don't want to create a vacuum, the cats are here to stay. You can't wipe them out, and who would want to, So that's all I got to say. I think hopefully the city will adopt this new law, and because I really think it's a humane thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker on this agenda item is Jean Dobbin.
My name is Jean Dobbin. I live at 1681 Walleye Drive in Crofton, Maryland, 21114. I'm not a resident of Laurel. However, I was employed in Laurel from 1996 till 2008 at 13900 Laurel Lakes Avenue. When I first started working there, a stray cat showed up, and of course I started to feed her, and then she showed up with her 4 kittens, and then Papa came. And 3 or 4 more cats came. And my boss who owned the building said, I really like them being here. We have no more problems with varmints in the building. However, I don't want any more. And so I proceeded the journey of being a feral rescue worker, a volunteer. I did not have the resources that this proposal offers. I didn't know anything about TNR. I had to do a lot of research. I had to do a lot of travel. I borrowed traps from a fine gentleman in animal control in Bowie, who told me when I showed up and told him what I wanted that they do not lend traps for that purpose, but I seemed sincere and he thought it was a good idea. So he helped me out. That was in maybe 1998. I trapped those cats. I had to take them down to a spay-neuter clinic in downtown DC. Over a period of weeks, I had them spayed and neutered. I released them back on the property, continued to feed them, and then they built the senior apartments, Laurel Lakes Court, and somebody told me there was a stray population over there. I went over there one night with 7 traps, and in a half an hour I had 7 cats. The next time I went back, I went with 8 traps, and within an hour I had 8 cats. Between maybe 2000 and, I don't know, over the next several years, I have probably trapped in that parking lot between the commercial strip of buildings and the senior apartments well over 150 cats. Several of them were tame adoptable cats, and I have since become a volunteer member with a feral rescue group in Anne Arundel County who provided me the resources of adoption through their adoption days at PetSmart in Annapolis. So several of those cats got homes. The rest of them I released. I did construct a feeder on the back strip. It's just a tiny strip of land behind those apartments. It's well out of sight. There's maybe 4 shelters back there. But long story short, of the well over 150 cats that I trapped there are now 6 cats in that colony. You know, it absolutely works. You know, even when I started doing this, I kind of had my doubts, you know, figuring there's always going to be one more that's going to drop a litter of kittens. But, you know, that's proof right there. It's not the only colony I have. I have one over on Kent Island. I have one in Crofton, and the situation is the same. They've gone from many, many cats down to, you know, a small colony. And the ones on Laurel Lakes Avenue, I have 2 of the originals. They're 13 years old. But the majority of them have just passed from old age. They live in the storm drains. I've had some complaints a time or two when the management changes at the apartments. However, they tend to be reasonable, and so long as everything's under control and out of sight, they don't seem to mind. I think what they don't realize is that I also pick up their trash, so it doesn't bring any, you know, anybody, you know, thinking that this is adding to the problem. The senior citizens also have, behind those apartments, they have, in the summer, they have plots for gardening. The cats keep away the rodents, they keep away the squirrels that eat their tomatoes. It's just worked very well. And this, oh my God, I probably drive 5,000 miles a year in this effort. I spend easily $4,000 to $5,000 of my own money in this effort. If I had this available over these past years, I could have taken a vacation. Oh Lord, you know, and I'm 60 years old and I'm worn out. And this proposal will enable those people who are, you know, have the enthusiasm but don't have the resources, have the energy, the ability to do a whole lot more than what I've done. So I hope you'll consider it. Thanks.
Thank you. Before I put this in the hands of the council, Councilwoman Nicholas and I co-chaired the task force that was appointed by Mayor Moe. I want to, first of all, thank those folks who are here and who are not here who served on that task force. I learned a great deal about cats. I learned a great deal about the TNR program. I want to make sure, however, that everyone is aware that what's before the council tonight is not a TNR program. It's an animal control ordinance that the council is going to move on tonight. So the TNR program is by reference in the animal control ordinance, but we are voting on an animal control that includes dogs, cats, horses, birds, and everything else. So I just want to make sure that we're all clear. I will now close the public hearing if there's no one else who would like to speak on this agenda item at 8:01. I've been asked by Councilman Ricks, who has some ongoing concerns and issues, to hold this vote on this for until our next meeting. Council, I'd like you to weigh in. Councilman Ricks, if you have anything you want to add.
Well, I do have some concerns, not just with the feral cat issue, excuse me, but I spent a lot of time looking at the legislation that is proposed, and I think it deserves another work session and some considerations where I can have some dialogue with my colleagues on some issues that I think were overlooked. And there are some other issues that are before the state that deal with pit bull dogs, and they also are dealing with how to deal with that issue and expanded issues. So I would like the opportunity to wait so that we, if necessary, have to include in this legislation what the state may consider in the next 2 weeks before their session ends. So with that being said, I request from my colleagues that we have another work session on this, that and I'll have a chance to meet with the administration. I've tried to do it before, but I just couldn't get my act together. So I'll meet with them, and also we'll talk it over at the work session. But I'd like for an agreement, a gentleman's agreement, if you will, that we're going to wait.
Okay, Council, Councilman Les.
Mr. President, if Mr. Ricks has some concerns, I have no problem in suggesting that we go ahead and put this on the agenda for the next work session. What's the date of the next meeting, Ms. Rao? Council meeting after the work session.
The work session will be the 11th of April.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be
The 8th, and then the first meeting is?
the first meeting would be the 8th.
No, that's work session. The first council.
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be on the 3rd, and then our next scheduled Mayor and City Council meeting is on the 8th, correct?
Right.
Okay, so we're talking about 2 weeks, and Mr. President, I have no problem in allowing Mr. Ricks the opportunity to ask some questions and have some additional dialogue. And we put it on the agenda for the possible action at the next Mayor and City Council meeting.
Okay.
That's just my thought.
Thank you. Councilwoman Nicholas, any comments?
I agree with Eddie. We can do it then. Thanks.
Okay.
I have no problems with more
Okay,
time.
then it will be on our work session agenda for the 3rd for a second time with possible action on the 8th of April.
Thank you, colleagues.
Agenda item 11 is the second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1769, an ordinance to amend Chapter 7, Garbage, Trash, Weeds, Article 4, Dumpsters, Specialized Trash and Garbage Receptacles of the Code of the City of Laurel to amend Section 7-55 to extend the compliance date for existing dumpsters and provide that the Director of Community Planning and Business Services shall administratively provide a site plan amendment for refuse enclosure and provide for a waiver of development review fees and building permit fees for a refuse enclosure, and amending Section 7-56, requiring compliance with Section 20-2.2, plans, plats, and information to accompany application for permits of the Unified Land Development Code, providing an effective date. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open the public hearing at 8:06. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 8:06. Council, what's your pleasure?
Mr. President, I move for approval of ordinance number 1769.
Thank you, Councilman Les. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilwoman McCrary, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes, and saying that I'm encouraged by the administration's willingness to take a look at certain applications prior to.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mel?
Agenda item 12 is the second public hearing with possible action on Charter Resolution Number 162 to amend Section 701 of the Charter of the City of Laurel entitled Program to change the date by which the mayor and city council must have prepared a proposed capital improvement program from February 1st to May 1st of each year, and to amend Section 702 of the Charter of the City of Laurel entitled Adoption Procedures to require that the ordinance adopting the capital improvement program be adopted by June 30 each year rather than February 28. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open a public hearing at 8:07. Are there amendments to this? No? Okay. Okay, I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item.
No, they're not. I'm sorry.
They're not? Okay. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 8:08. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Carreri?
I recommend that we approve this ordinance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mel?
Thank the council for this. I'll concur.
That concludes our agenda. Is there any other business to come before the mayor and city council? Seeing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.